When you've done so much real estate business in this country, and you go over to Australia or Fiji or all these places that you go that everybody is now jealous of, do you take in the real estate market? I mean, do you look around and go, wow, that's really interesting?
Well, it's an addiction, right? So I go down there and I'm looking around, and you're trying to be on vacation, but it's like, okay, this is a pretty cool spot. What'll it cost? And I used to work and live in New Zealand. I actually used to live in Australia as well. So I had a little bit better baseline. And then, so where we lived was about 40 minutes north of Auckland. And I went to a little town on the water called Ariwa and walked around and was looking at their waterfront houses, shocked at how much that market has come up. Granted, I lived there 15 years ago, but when you look at a market like that's come up, when you look at Vancouver, Canada, which never had the hit like what we had, and you start to look at the overall world market, it actually bolsters your confidence in our market, because the overall world market is recovering in most sectors, at least that I've seen. And a lot of what we get in the Northwest, where we say, oh, we're really expensive, boy, you look at Korea, you look at China, you look at even now New Zealand, Australia is dramatically more expensive than a lot of the Seattle areas. It just kind of says, okay, maybe we're not. These folks that are worried about this bubble, when you compare us to other markets around the world on the Pacific, I don't know that we've got that big risk of a bubble, frankly.
Well, China does have ghost towns with millions of people, right? I mean, there's some parts of the China I know that literally there's towns are built for 1 million people. They may experience a bubble. Of course, we don't have that, but I guess that's why it's so important to understand those local markets. Yeah,
well, and that's true of anything, right? That's why you want to hire the local expert, because you can go into Auckland and pay, $2 million for a place on the water, then go down to the South Island where there's more land mass and only 800,000 people, and go pay $250,000 for a similar piece of property. The other interesting thing with New Zealand is the government owns all the beaches and owns all the waterfront. So you may have a quote-unquote waterfront property, but you don't actually own out into the water and across the beach. The entire community does.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Keeps property taxes down, maybe.
Yeah, their tax structure is semi-brutal, yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Do you so when you're out and you're looking at the different real estate markets, what are some similarities and differences to, maybe the styles of how real estate works? Are there brokers? Are there real estate agents? Are there,
Yeah, a lot of the styles are the same. We are blessed locally with, as residential realtors, we're blessed with one MLS that has pretty much all the information on it. Now, if you're looking in Chelan, it's a different MLS, but for the most part, in our region, the Northwest Multiple has all the information. In most of New Zealand, for instance, you've got to go look at the different companies, because the different companies hold all their listings close to the chest. And so as a buyer, you're going around to all these different companies, and you may have multiple buyer agents. You try and do this here, and you're going to have the good buyer agents, at least, are going to be like, I'm not going to work with you.
Mm-hmm.
If you're working with Joe down the street and Bob up the road, why do you need me? We're all fishing from the same pond. It's just I'm a better fisherman.
Right.
So, there is a big difference there. Commission structures are different, but obviously, that's what it is. And then in New Zealand and Australia, they have a lot of auctions, which is, to me, bizarre. And I know they're doing some of it in the U.S., but they're kind of these minimum bid auctions. So everybody goes in there and they get all excited and they bid on this house. And if you didn't reach the seller's price, they're not selling it to you anyway. And if you go through the inspection and you get cold feet, you're not buying it anyway. I'm like, I kind of don't get the point, but I didn't have time to really get into that. I was too busy on vacation.
You didn't go to any, huh?
No, I've been to plenty around here, but didn't do any down there.
The kids are like, Dad, please don't make us go look at houses.
Yeah.
Cory Brandt joins us. Cory, we just so when you start really looking at that, you were comparing the overseas market to here and making it sound at least that maybe we do have more room. When you take that international perspective, I have two questions. One is, do you tend to still think Seattle will be strong? And two is, what do other people know about Seattle around the world? Is it becoming more of a well-known area for just, so many people are coming here?
Yeah. Well,
Two
the
totally
Asian,
disjointed questions, but hey.
I think the Asian market definitely knows about the Seattle market. I could say, I just did a property in Bellevue. We had 6 offers. It got bid up basically 40+ thousand over asking price. A number of cash buyers, Chinese buyers, Korean buyers, as well as, local folks, all throwing in large dollars for, a house that a couple of years ago wasn't worth what they're paying. As far as where I see the market going, personally, I think we're going to go up another 10% or close to it next year in this market. At some point, as interest rates go up, the market will slow down. We're still, frankly, in recovery mode because not only are we trying to catch up to where we were, we're trying to catch up with what a normal rate of inflation was, which we didn't have. Our appreciation, right? So if you can argue that 3% is normal for our market or 4% is normal for our market, but you look at 6 years where we didn't have that at all and where we actually dropped, 25 to 30%, and you can
almost pinpoint if you do the straight line appreciation rate of houses and you just right up the middle.
Yep.
We're almost back to where kind of almost where about that peak was now.
Yeah.
Right? It just pushed us forward about 5 years, and now the normal rate of appreciation is almost there.
Well, we're back to we're close to where the peak was, but are we to where we should be right now,
based
knowing
on that line.
Peak was 6 years ago? And I don't think we are, and that's why I think we're looking at probably another 10% next year. That, and although it has slowed down a little, it's still very active. It's still very, very busy.
Yeah.
So,
Cory, good to see you, man. Well, welcome back.
Yeah,
back here in Seattle, and
in our beautiful
here and there,
weather there.
Here and there, we get some pretty good weather, this summer.
Yeah.
But I've never been down there, so that would be fun. I'll go check out some of those house auctions. Let you know when I make it down to
perfect.
New Zealand in 15 years when my kids are not infants and 2 years.
Yeah. No, I took. My guys were down there when they were real little.
Yeah.
So yeah. No, my one memory of my youngest is getting shocked by an electric fence out on the sheep farm. So,
how old?
He was about 2.5, but he remembered that. Everything else is gone, but he remembered. Getting shocked.
Oh, man. Lucky you're overseas. You can put in jail probably for that. Letting your kid go touch an electric fence.